Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, the month of May started with the law firms that Donald Trump was trying to punish kicking Donald Trump's ass in court. And the month of May ended with the law firms that Donald Trump was trying to punish kicking Donald Trump's ass in court. Kind of like that trend. Because, justice matters. Friends, here's a brief recap of the legal stories for the month that was May 2025. So friends, May 1st is Law Day, a day on which we celebrate the rule of law and its importance to a healthy democracy. And what a shining example of celebrating the rule of law we had on Law Day 2025, when a Trump-appointed judge ruled that Donald Trump cannot use the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to detain or deport Venezuelan immigrants. Well, friends, in a 102-page ruling and order, D.C. Federal Court Judge Beryl Howell has ruled that Donald Trump's executive order punishing the law firm of Perkins Coie is unconstitutional and, quote, is thus null and void. So friends, I hope you had a chance to attend some of the May Day rallies that were held all across America. We had one out here in a small town called Berryville, Virginia, and a whole bunch of democracy warriors showed up and participated. And it's an honor to talk with you all today, because this is what the future looks like. This is how we're going to take back our democracy. So friends, Donald Trump just went on record saying he doesn't know if, as President of the United States, he has to uphold the Constitution. So friends, remember when, at a White House meeting, Donald Trump threatened to cut off certain funding to the state of Maine, and Maine's governor, Janet Mills, told Trump, "We'll see you in court." Well, guess who just won that battle? So friends, some Republican senators are now pushing back on Donald Trump, specifically regarding one particularly horrible nominee on the rule of law front. Friends, we will take our points of light where we can find them. So let's talk about Republican Senator Thom Tillis telling Donald Trump no. So friends, after his first 100 days in office, where does Donald Trump stand on the legal front? Well, he's experiencing a long downhill slide in the courts, and things are likely to get worse for him, not better, as more and more federal judges are stepping up to knock down Trump's lawless acts on our institutions of government and on the American people. Let me ask you more about when you started digging in and investigating the background of Ed Martin as he became sort of a known quantity in D.C. What were some of the things that you found that were alarming, if not kind of disqualifying for the position he's seeking?
We dug into 30 years of Ed Martin's career, going all the way back to the early 2000s, when he is a sort of up-and-coming political figure in the state of Missouri, where he's from. What we found dotted all along the way were instances of problematic, troubling, in some cases outright unethical actions that he undertook.
And I know there was a response from Georgetown, but where did this thing fall out? Because this is so over the top as an abuse of office that, you would think something like a lawsuit might come of it, but I don't think we've seen one from Georgetown.
I haven't seen a lawsuit or heard rumblings of a lawsuit from Georgetown. They did respond with a pretty firmly worded letter that said, essentially, we're going to run our law school the way we want to run our law school. We've done it this way for decades. You know, the DC U.S. Attorney's Office has hired, I'm sure, hundreds of Georgetown law grads. The pipeline from the school to the office is very common. But it's just another example of the way Martin has turned this office into this sort of politicized and weaponized tool of an administration.
So friends, Donald Trump and his little minions like Stephen Miller and others find the Constitution really inconvenient because it's stopping them from doing what they want to do. Fortunately, federal judges continue to insist that Trump's executive branch abide by the Constitution. So friends, what's the latest in the Abrego Garcia case? Well, the Trump administration continues to defy court orders. Trump administration official Kristi Noem asserts, in substance, that they will not abide by Supreme Court rulings or directives, and Senator Chris Van Hollen calls it by its name, saying, quote, "The Salvadoran government is complicit with the Trump administration in violating U.S. constitutional rights." Okay, another question you may or may not be able to answer. Who's doing the work of the Institute of Peace presently?
You know, that's a great question, Glenn, and it's the one that we've been asking Judge Howell to look into, because the reality is, as Tamana said, our statute that was created by Congress legally requires us by law to do a set of activities. In fact, there's multiple statutes where we've been tasked by Congress to deliver specific things related to peace building.
Well, friends, Donald Trump's Department of Justice just indicted a judge for allegedly helping an immigrant evade arrest by ICE agents. Okay, let's have a look at the evidence supporting this indictment. So friends, have you seen the histrionics of some of the Trump administration officials over an Instagram post by former FBI Director James Comey? Well, friends, some good news. 7 Supreme Court justices continue to band together to tell Donald Trump no to his determination to unconstitutionally deport immigrants. So, friends, DC Federal District Court Judge Beryl Howell just struck a devastating blow against the overreach, the abuse of power, and the lawlessness of Trump, Musk, and Doge. So friends, in a first-of-its-kind ruling from a federal judge, the Trump administration was just ordered to arrange for the attorneys who represent a wrongfully deported Venezuelan man who's being held in that prison in El Salvador, arrange for his attorneys to have access to him. That's a first. So friends, with Donald Trump's Department of Justice going after politicians who, of course, are Democrats, going after them one after another, when do we acknowledge that Trump and Attorney General Pam Bondi are essentially trying to turn the Department of Justice into campaign headquarters for the Republican Party? So friends, Donald Trump is on one hell of a losing streak in court. Let's take on 3 devastating legal losses Trump suffered in just the past 24 hours. So friends, judges continue to call out and rule against Donald Trump's violations of the Constitution. Let's talk about what Donald Trump is doing to law firms, universities, and 2-year-olds. So friends, you want to see how one Donald Trump pardon puts the lie to 3 Donald Trump promises? Most notably, his promise to protect Social Security? Well, wait until you hear about Donald Trump's pardon of Social Security thief Paul Walzak. So friends, in what can only be called a colossally stupid act of self-destruction, Donald Trump bites the hand that feeds him judges. Let's talk about that, because justice matters.
It's for sure. Justice matters. Justice matters. Justice matters.